Hello, friends. Welcome back to the shop. Today is Thursday, November 13th, and it is going on 10 p.m. Uh, and it's been roughly 11 hours now. 11 o'clock this morning. Right around 11 o'clock, my little brother passed away. Scott, the guys many of you have been praying for, many of you took the time to send birthday cards to, and I'm eternally grateful for that. Yeah, he finally succumbed. He lost the fight. If you don't know, if you're new, you haven't been following. My brother was autistic. Um, he he was sort of middle of the road in terms of autism. He could function. If you met him, you'd say, "Yeah, something a little not right there." He's only wants to talk about the things he wants to talk about, and he couldn't really hold the job. But oh, he's such a good guy. And, somebody that I've spent since I was 5 years old. He's been my buddy. We shared a room together from the time I was 5 years old until the time I went off to graduate school. And we stayed in touch, phone, email, text messages. As the technology evolved, it got to the point where we were sending, some days we'd send two or three text messages. Some days we'd send 100 text messages. We were constantly going back and forth. And yeah, he had a very unique sense of humor and a unique view of the world that rubbed off on me, and now I have that I have nobody to share it with because he's the only other person in the world that understood it. So yeah, it's tough. I am enjoying as you can see, I'm getting to the dregs here of a leaf by Oscar. This is a Connecticut. I would have preferred a Sumatra, but I only had a Connecticut in the humidor, so that's what I got. And I decided to have a cigar tonight because, yeah, in my brother's honor. I'm going to try to get this band off before it starts. But you know what? I'll just inch it up a little bit. It'll be fine. Also enjoying some whiskey. I'm about halfway through this. It turns out your fingers get a lot fatter when your brother does. I can't explain it. Just laws of physics. I'm not in control. So my sister called me around 11 o'clock to tell me, and I have to admit felt a sense of relief and peace. Um, Relief because I had, for many years now, ever since my parents passed away, I've been worried about him. You know, he was the youngest, and I could imagine a day when he was alone, and that wouldn't be right. And that'll never happen now. Peace because he had been sick for a long time, and I know he had been suffering, not in pain, not in panic, but he knew it wasn't right. He knew something was wrong, and now he knows. Now he's in the presence of perfect love, and he knows all. And he's with me. I'm gonna I'm gonna anger the 0.05% atheist population that watches me, but that's okay. I love you guys. Um, yeah, I truly believe he's with God, and God is omnipresent. He's omniscient, and therefore, if my brother's with him, if God's here, he must be here. And he sees all with God, and he knows my heart, and he knows how much I cared for him and how much I miss him. So nothing remains unsaid. I talked to him last week. It was hard to talk to him. He had trouble talking. His voice was weak, and he was tired. But we talked for a while, and we talked about some good stuff. Um, remembering things of the past, and that was good. Um, Talked to him the week prior to that. He was in rare form, his usual self, and our conversations, my brother was very regimented in his routine, so our conversation was scripted. You know, this is the time when we talk about this stuff, and this is the time when we talk about that stuff, and we go through each segment, and then we get to the end, and we were done. Last week it was really hard for him. And, you know, we always talk for an hour. So to give you an idea of how regimented he once called me angry, angry at me because it was, well, I was going to call him at 3 o'clock and I was fumbling to get my headset working and the phone rang. And I answered the phone. I said, hello, it was my brother. And he said, you're 30 seconds late. And he was dead serious. He was mad at me because I was 30 seconds late in calling him. So that was him in a nutshell. He liked his routines. And that's one of the reasons, a lot of people didn't understand why I said, I'm not going to go visit him, because I visited him in July. July was when I visited. And if I came another time of year, there would be something wrong. And if he thought there was something wrong, he would immediately connect it with his health. And he would have been panicked. And I couldn't do that to him. And I'm at peace with that. We had, like I said, we were in constant communication. Being in the same room together didn't really mean as much to us. So here I am, kind of alone now in a weird sense. Of course I've got my wife and her family, and thank God for that. But in terms of my family that I grew up with, my grandparents are gone, my mother and father are gone, half of my aunts and uncles are gone, the other half I'm estranged from, and that's fine. And then I had a brother and sister, and now my brother's gone, and honestly, my sister and I, we're okay, but we're not going to stay in touch. Yeah, so it's weird. I'm sort of at this crossroad, this inflection point in life. I never thought I would be, because I just always thought I'm the eldest. I shouldn't have to think about these things. And yet here I am, thinking about these things. Anyway, the main reason I wanted to make this video was to thank all of you for your support, your kindness, your prayers, all the folks that sent cards and gifts. And, oh, it made his birthday. He was so happy with all the mail he was getting. Yeah, anybody that had that opportunity, he loved every card, every letter, every little gift, a Flyers blanket. He was so happy. He sent me a picture of that. He was so happy with it. He got an Eagles calendar, wall calendar. More things that I can remember, and so many folks stepped up for that, and I appreciate it. It made his birthday something special, and I'll never forget that kindness that you all provided. So my prayer over the last few months, I suppose, weeks certainly, but months maybe, was that he go peacefully and without any anxiety, without any pain, and he enter gracefully into God's arms. And from what I saw today, that's exactly what happened. So I ask you to continue to pray. Pray for his soul, as we Catholics do. Pray for his close family, my sister, her children, my niece and nephew, because they were there. They need some comfort. And pray for the others that you don't know need prayer. The other people in this community that either don't have the outreach or just don't feel comfortable telling you that they need your prayer. Offer that up to them. Offer that up for them, sorry. Locative prepositions don't work too well after 4 fingers. 4 fat fingers. In my defense, and this is my last story, I did pour some of this out on the lawn tonight. And that was because when I talked to him on Sunday rather, just this past Sunday, um, he wasn't very talkative, but I was taking him through memories of things that happened. And I said, hey, remember, I was in town because my dad was sick. I was actually in town to visit him in the hospital. I had a hotel room near the hospital room. And one night, my brother, Scott, he stayed with me in the hotel. And we ordered a pizza. We got a 6-pack of beer, and we watched the Phillies play in the World Series. And that was, that was a beautiful moment. And I said, hey, remember that night we watched the World Series game? And he, with his impeccable sense of the world and his sense of humor, he said, oh, yeah, we had a frat party. I just love that. So tonight I went out in the yard and I took about half of this glass and poured it out on the lawn and said, here you go, Scott. We'll have a frat party tonight, too. I came down here and lit up a cigar and just want to share a few moments with you. And again, say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I wouldn't be able to get through this without y'all. And I appreciate that. So with that, I'll be here tomorrow. If I remember to put up a darn placeholder and actually have a show, I'll be here tomorrow. We'll have our live stream as per usual, and we'll enjoy ourselves. That's what he would have wanted me to do. Thank you again. Take care of one another. Take care of yourself. Be kind. You never know when you're speaking to someone, you never know if that is in fact going to be the last time. And if you have a sense that it might be, that's a great blessing. With that, my friends, take good care. And until we speak again, I'll look forward to talking to you all again very soon. Goodbye now.